So far, almost every enemy from Poppy Playtime that we've encountered has been killed off by either our hands or through different means. Now of course, this is all just self-defense. There hasn't been a toy that we went out of our way to get rid of, but there's one thing that most followers of Poppy Playtime are concerned about, and that is the mysterious fate of one of Playtime Co.'s most beloved characters, DogDay. If you remember what happened in chapter 3, during the scene where we come across DogDay in the playhouse, after he gives this speech regarding the prototype's control and what Catnap did to him, along with some info on the smiling critters, the little plushies begin to swarm DogDay, slowly hijacking his body and corrupting him from the inside out. It didn't take long for DogDay to go from a somewhat friendly character to a deranged and unhinged monster, now being nothing but a husk for the smiling critters in the prototype. But after we managed to escape DogDay by running through the playhouse and boosting ourselves over to an elevator, the door shuts behind us and you can hear a demented DogDay screaming in the background. And this was the last time that we ever see DogDay. There was no info regarding what happened to him, and none of the characters even bring up DogDay after this scene. But with that being said, could it be possible that DogDay managed to survive the smiling critter's corruption? And even if he did, would this mean that he could possibly make an appearance in the upcoming chapter? Well, to figure this out, the first thing we have to analyze is the last noise that DogDay makes right before we enter the elevator. I did go over parts of this in another DogDay video, and if you're interested in looking at that, the link will be in the description. But this demonic cry from DogDay could mean two things, so let's compare both of them side by side and speculate on which one could be the most likely. The first possible reason for this scream is that DogDay is finally dying due to the smiling critters taking over his body. As said in a previous video, I said that it was possible that in order for the smiling critters to hijack his body, they could have eaten away at his organs in chunks of flesh to either make room for them to fit or for them to replace the organ that they just ate. But honestly, the first possibility seems like the most likely, as during the scene where the smiling critters corrupt his body, you can hear them chew out his vocal cords.
Leave me. Please, just go!
And during the chase, the smiling critters were using the last bit of life that DogDay had to pursue us, and once we ended up escaping, DogDay let out a final scream with his torn vocals, finally being put to rest. Now for the second possible reason, and I'm gonna say that there's a chance that this was a scream of frustration from the smiling critters. We don't exactly know how this corrupting ability that the smiling critters have works, and it's entirely possible that the little plushies still have control over DogDay's body. Think about it, if we're going off the fact that they use DogDay's body as a vessel or some type of vehicle to try and kill us, then wouldn't it make sense for them to be able to keep using his body even after it's completely mangled and we ended up escaping? Now, this would technically mean that it isn't DogDay who's alive, and it actually is just the smiling critters inside of him. But there's another side of the Poppy Playtime community that are led to believe that DogDay's corruption was exactly that, just corruption. His body is still intact and functional, and the smiling critters just overrided his mind instead of hijacking his body. If this were the case, then that could open some doors to him not only possibly making an appearance in chapter 4, but somehow converting him back to a good guy. But going back to the actual chase in chapter 3, if we were to say that the last scream we hear from DogDay is a scream of frustration, then there's a slight chance this won't be the last time we see this character. With all this being said, this now begs the question, which reason is most likely to have happened? Well, honestly, I'm led to believe that Mob didn't give us closure on DogDay's death for a reason, and they're saving him for another chapter to either be saved or to just be re-encountered as a stronger enemy. And if you really think about it, those little plushies working together to maneuver DogDay seems to be a lot more efficient and practical than just running around as little critters. It's almost as if they have a suit of armor on, having a nice layer of protection for whatever ends up trying to hurt them. Now, there might be a few people that believe that after the chase, the critters simply left DogDay's body and decided that it wasn't of use anymore. But again, why would they do that if it's proven to be way more practical? However, there's one problem with this entire theory, and it's so big in fact that it might not even matter if DogDay is even alive or not. At the end of chapter 3, we end up going down a lift with Poppy, with our plan being to send the lift back up once we reach the bottom so Kissy Missy can come down with us to whatever new part of the factory that we're going to. But as we're going down, we hear the screams of Kissy Missy from above and the chapter ends, leaving us with a disgusting cliffhanger. The only thing I'm worried about, however, is how DogDay would not only come down to this new location, but how he would make his way to the gas production zone in the first place. It's been speculated by many that it was DogDay who attacked Kissy Missy, but let's think about how he could have actually gotten in the position to even attack her. With everything that happened in the playhouse, it's safe to say that the main reason of us leaving through the elevator is that it was easier and faster to leave through that way. At no point in the chase did we end up blocking off the entrance that we came through. Well, kinda, because the way we stumbled into the playhouse is by wandering through the caves after defeating Mr. Light by slamming a door on her. But it could be that door that prevents DogDay from escaping this area of the factory and making his way into the gas production zone to either attack Kissy Missy or come down to wherever we were going. However, if you remember what happened while going through the caves, you can see Catnap praying to an amalgamation of toys. We're later informed by Ollie that this was a shrine that Catnap made for the prototype. But there are two things that stand out to me. The first is that how did Catnap even get there in the first place? We ended up reaching this part of the cave by moving through the school, and it's also said by Ali that Catnap doesn't like going in there, likely because of Mr. Light and her psychotic nature. There's a tape that we come across throughout the game that includes Mr. Light talking to Barb about a conversation that we have with Catnap. We know that this is him because of the scratchy voice that she uses and the fact that this person wants to keep the kids safe. Mr. Light, however, does not want to keep the kids safe and says that Catnap didn't tell her the location of them because he knew that if she had the chance, Mr. Light would kill them all.
Where are the children? Are they in the same place as the employees?
No.
Are the children safe?
Yes.
Oh. Can I see them?
No.
And that was it. That's all he'd tell me. Probably because he knew I'd kill them all.
So with that being said, we can conclude that Catnap likely didn't go through the school because of this. So how did Catnap end up appearing in the cave? Well, if you remember what happened at the very beginning of the game, there's a moment where we can briefly see Catnap leaving the sewers through a vent in the ceiling. It's pretty hard to catch it, but it does bring about some questions. Could it be possible that there was some type of opening that Catnap entered the cave through? He doesn't seem like the type to use elevators, so I don't think he just went down to the playhouse and then made his way there. In fact, when you see him praying to the shrine, you can also see that he had to climb up onto the platform before doing anything else. So where was Catnap initially? To be honest, I have no clue, but we still have to look at the second thing that stands out to me. If you take a close look at Catnap's shrine, you can see parts of Mommy Longlegs on it. This is a huge red flag for me because we clearly see Mommy Longlegs get killed by the grinder that we trapped her in chapter 2. So how did Catnap manage to grab pieces of her and bring them all the way down to the caves? Not only that, but when did he even get the chance to do this? Chapter 3 begins with him throwing us down a trash compactor, and it's said that this was after he found us near the train crash. So did he grab the parts before or after he found us? Well, it's likely that it was after, as Catnap has very few appearances in Chapter 3, which probably means that he went to different parts of the factory to find spare parts to help create his shrine for the prototype. So with all this being said, could it be possible that DogDay took the same route as Catnap, whatever it was, in order to get to us and eventually attack Kissy Missy? It's a bit of a stretch, but what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching, subscribe, and click on this video right here.